Hi, my name is Jumpy Bernard here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
It's the fastest, most unpredictable speedway on Earth.
Iron made this place. Mined, smelted, forged. And every spring, we gather round and celebrate. Iron sharpening iron.
Oh, he gets tattooed!
But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover coming to you with a virtual background of Coleman Coliseum, actually my home in Birmingham, before I hit the road and get ready for Alabama against Tennessee coming up later tonight in Knoxville in women's basketball. But it's great to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon as we start to take a look at what's coming up on the show, plus our headlines, always brought to you by RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's first of all see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. First, we'll talk softball with Alabama second baseman Callie Heivilin. The Crimson Tide with a midweek win earlier this week, playing at the home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. A good conversation with senior Callie Heivilin to talk about Team 29 of Alabama softball. Then we'll talk gymnastics with Rachel Rybicki as we're all excited for what's coming up on Friday with the power of pink meat against the Auburn Tigers, and more on Rachel's journey from Michigan to Tuscaloosa. Then we'll have coach's checklist from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nate Oats, as he'll talk about Alabama's loss last night in men's basketball to Missouri. Then it will be Christy Curry joining me courtside on the radio from Monday night with our postgame conversation about the win against Texas A&M and looking ahead to tonight's matchup between Alabama and Tennessee. Mentioned the men's basketball team, a very high-scoring game last night. Missouri got the win 110-98, so back-to-back losses for the Crimson Tide for the first time in SEC play. Alabama, after falling to Auburn on Saturday, dropped down to number 4 in the AP poll. Coming up on Saturday, another tough opponent for the Crimson Tide, but at least Alabama is at home. It will be the Crimson Tide against Kentucky at 5 p.m. Our coverage on the network will start at 4, and a reminder, wear white when you come to Coleman Coliseum for the full whiteout against the Kentucky Wildcats. In women's basketball, a great time at Coleman Coliseum on Monday, 88-49. The game against Texas A&M was truly never close. Alabama led by 30 at the end of the first half, and eventually Crimson Tide had the lead by 40 before the fourth quarter, and then Christy Curry got to empty the bench, play the full roster in that win against the Aggies. Alabama now back in the top 20 as the Crimson Tide have been in the top 25 all throughout the year, but Alabama checks in at number 18 in the AP poll, getting ready for this week with a critical matchup of rivalry matchups. First of all, against 15th ranked Tennessee, coming up tonight in Knoxville at 5:30. Our coverage will start at 5:15 across the network. And then on Sunday, the Power of Pink game for Alabama, and also senior night, recognizing a great senior class, including Sarah Ashley Barker and Aaliyah Nye. You don't want to miss that coming up against the Auburn Tigers at 4 p.m. coming up on Sunday. Alabama on the diamond, a winning start for the Crimson Tide baseball team. The offense, the pitching, all coming together for Rob Vaughn, sweeping Bradley over the weekend and then getting some midweek wins against Middle Tennessee and even against Alabama State in frigid weather yesterday afternoon in Tuscaloosa. Now this week, the Crimson Tide heading to a beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where unfortunately temperatures are going to get no warmer than the 60s. Bit of a bummer there for the Crimson Tide, but 3 great games coming up against Coastal Carolina, NC State, Ohio State coming up this weekend at the home of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Softball team went to the most prestigious preseason softball tournament in the nation, the Clearwater Invitational. Ended up going 1-4 in that tournament, but it was great to see Alabama return home to the Yellowhammer State on Tuesday, beat Jacksonville State in Madison, Alabama, the home of the Rocket City Trash Pandas, so a good win there. And now this week, plenty of action coming up at the Easton Bama Bash. It's time for this team to be back at the Rhodes House for the first time in 2021. Then looking at Alabama gymnastics, Friday a meet against the Auburn Tigers at 7:30. It will be the Power of Pink meet coming up, as you've probably seen all the pink lights around campus, especially around Coleman Coliseum in the last few days. Best of luck to the swimming and diving programs of Margot Gear. They're competing at the SEC Championships. And then the men's golf team had a runner-up finish at the Water Sound Invitational, a very prestigious tournament for this time of the year. Great performances all throughout the roster for head coach Jay Sewell. Someone that's been on the roster for Alabama softball the last 4 years is Callie Heivilin, the everyday second baseman for the Crimson Tide. She joined us at our podcast studio at the Advantage Center at Saban Field to talk about her journey, like we'll talk about a little bit with Rachel Rybicki in a moment, going from Michigan to Tuscaloosa and everything that it means for Callie Heivilin to suit up one more year for Alabama.
Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover now pleased to be joined here at Saban Field at the Advantage Center by Callie Heivilin, now in her senior season competing for the Crimson Tide in softball at second base. And Callie, it's great to have you here. Roll Tide, are you excited that Team 29 underway?
Oh, I'm so excited. I've actually told a lot of people that I think this year's team is the best team that I've had in my 4 years I've been here. We have so much versatility, so much depth in hitting, so much depth in the infield, and I think that's what's going to allow us to mesh a lot sooner, because there have been years where we don't mesh until the very end. And, like, we get to the World Series, stuff like that. But I think with us meshing so early in the season, like, it's going to take us way farther and, like, have way more opportunities this year.
Did you have that feeling even going back to the fall about this group?
Oh, yeah. Like, we meshed, like, super easy. Like, I remember my freshman year, like, we all were a little hesitant, you know, coming in as freshmen. But these freshmen came in right away, and they were, like, who they were. And, like, they showed us it. And they were like, yeah, this is who I am. And everybody meshed. And so it was kind of just like, all right, these girls are going to be a good fit. So it was really awesome to see, and I think we're really going to take off soon.
And how much have you enjoyed with the freshmen coming in, and now you've seen that for a few classes, how much do you enjoy this senior role that you're in and this leadership role in this team?
I love it, because from a freshman standpoint, I kind of got to see the older or upperclassmen do that, like Montana, Allie Shipman, Ashley Pringy. And now that I'm in that role, like, the biggest thing for me is I want everybody to feel, like, comfortable here. Like, I don't want anybody to, you know, feel scared, or, like, even, like, for instance, like, I'm closest with Maddie Hubbard. And, like, she was my roommate this weekend. And, like, Murph has accountability partners for us. So, like, he put me with Maddie this year. And it's like I've got to grow and learn Maddie a lot. And this weekend I was like, Maddie, are you nervous? She's like, yeah, I'm really nervous. It's my first game, you know. And I think, like, having that, and then I'll be like, hey, it's okay. Like, you might make an error, you might strike out, but, like, it's the name of the game. Like, just go out there and have fun. And after that first game, she was like, Callie, I had fun. And so, like, it's just, like, the little things like that. Like, I just want everybody to feel welcome, and, like, having that senior role and having the opportunity to be able to, like, share my experiences with everybody else, and hope that they, you know, feel the same way is something that I cherish for sure.
Now, for you, you mentioned some of the players that helped you. Who were some accountability partners you had early in your time here?
I was super close with Ashley Pringy, and it's funny because, like, in the beginning, like, my freshman year, we didn't have accountability partners because Kaylee Tao was the only senior. And, like, so we had, like, 6 freshmen, and then it was, like, Jenna Johnson and Montana, all of them were, like, seniors, but, like, Tao was the oldest. So it was kind of, like, new that Murph started, like, I think it was my sophomore year. So it was new, and I was like, oh, I like this. Like, it's cool. So, like, I never had the opportunity because he, like, learned something new, but now that we have it, I'm like, it's just going to make the program way better.
That's really good to see. And for this group, like you mentioned, already off to a good start, the Candrea Classic out in Tucson, Arizona. Just first of all, do you like getting to start the season with not only a tournament like that, but also what we're seeing in Clearwater, and just so many games so quickly, as opposed to maybe just a game a day or a 3-game series against the same team?
I love it. I think it is what allows us to grow early. You know, like our game against Arizona, the score will show that we, you know, quote unquote, played bad. But there were so many opportunities for us to do the game, and we just didn't come through. But, like, that's the name of the game. And so I think learning early and having the opportunities to play all these good teams is really going to set us up for success in the long run. And especially, like, against Washington, like, we had a huge comeback win. And, like, that just shows how, you know, dominant we really are, like, from, you know, everybody in the starting lineup, but also that are pinch hitters. Like, we have the best pinch hitters that I've had since we've been here. Like, everybody can beat anybody out. Like, it's awesome because it only makes us better. So, like, playing in the Candrea Classic and then down in Clearwater, like, having that strength of schedule and having the ability to fail and win and learn everything in between is only going to set us up for success in the long run.
Defense, so important. And, of course, you're locked in at second base. So what can you tell us about everyone else on the diamond as they settle in those roles? Yeah,
I think, honestly, like, I'm locked in at second base, but, like, we have so many freshmen, like Kennedy Marceau and Maddie Hubbard, like, they're infielders, and they came in, and I'm like, oh, these girls are good. Like, and it's good to have that depth. And, like, Western Michigan, like, I didn't play. Kennedy played second base, and she played great. Like, she had a 3-run home run. She made, like, a double play. Like, it's just, like, little things like that. Like, I'm excited for them. Like, I want our team to do good. Brooke Ellistad is going between short and third. We're, still trying to figure everything out. But I think we're super strong infield and outfield. Like, you have Audrey Vandegrift that I don't even know how she could be that fast. It's ridiculous. But, like, she's just so good. We have, like, the fastest outfield in the country, I believe, with Kristen in center and Larissa in right and Audrey. But, like, in the diamond, like, the thing that I love the most is the pitchers have so much confidence in the infield, and that's, like, huge for them to be able to dominate in the circle. So I think having the starters, quote unquote, right now, but then, like, having everybody else that's a backup, like, I don't think there's a hole in any part of our lineup.
And then what do you see from Marley Giles at catcher?
Marley's legit. Marley's a great leader. She really takes control of the infield and takes pride in it. And I think the pitchers also really trust her with that. Like, she has so much love for the game and so much love for other people's success that it's only made her better throughout the years. I remember freshman year, Marley, she might kill me by saying this, but freshman year, Marley, like, she was so timid and she was scared to fail. And, like, it's like the nervous freshman things. But, like, seeing her grow the last couple of years, like, Marley's completely different. And, like, having her as a leader and behind the plate, like, it only is going to make our team better.
Some time on the road for the Crimson Tide, as we mentioned, to start the year. How much are you looking forward to getting the full Rhodes House experience? All the fans are making their way here because when Alabama gets to host here, especially in the postseason, it's really impossible to beat the Crimson Tide. You got to feel with the support we give you here in Tuscaloosa.
Right. Yeah, I think it's awesome. We do have the best fans in the country, and we've had, opponents on the opposite side say that, like Alexis Papillo, like, she played at UNI and she played here last year, and Lance used to, coach at LSU, and just, like, them, like, I've never been on the opposing side, obviously, but they're like, the atmosphere here is ridiculous, and, like, we feel the love from the fans, and, like, we go out there, and, like, I know that if I strike out or if I hit a home run, like, there's support behind me the whole time, and I think that's something really special, and I can't wait for the new girls to enjoy just the roar of the Rhodes House, and to have that experience. It's going to be super cool for them to see.
It's a really special place to play your college softball. Let's go back to the beginning of your journey, back to the state of Michigan. How'd you get from Michigan to Alabama?
So I actually got recruited on my travel team with the Indiana Magic. We were based out of Indianapolis, and we had kind of a lot of girls from a little bit of everywhere. And I kind of, like, started with, like, little teams growing up and kind of, like, slowly worked my way up. Like, I never played with the travel team more than 2 years. Fun fact. But, like, we had a lot of girls. Like, when I got on that team, we had Kansas Robinson, who was committed to Northwestern as a shortstop. And I knew going there, like, all I had to do was compete. And if I compete with Kansas, Kansas can make me better. I'm going to make Kansas better. And there was, like, so many other infielders and players at that point. So our coach, Coach John Lamar, he took us to every tournament we needed to go to with, all the best coaches in the country watching you. And that first time I saw, it was actually Coach Allie in the stands. I was like, oh, hi. Like, I was so nervous, like a little girl. But, like, I never came to an Alabama camp. Like, I never did anything because, like, I never thought, like, I'd have this opportunity. So, like, it was basically just going out there and being who you are on the field, and, like, letting that take over. And so I kind of just did that, go to the big tournaments, talk to the coaches, email them, and go over there. And when I had my visit here, I was like, yeah, there's nowhere better than here. It's such a family atmosphere, and I just absolutely loved it.
That's really good. Was it always softball for you? Any other sports growing up?
Softball was my favorite, but I played volleyball and basketball and did powerlifting.
Powerlifting?
Yes.
Pretty good there?
I mean, I guess. I guess you could say that.
That make the transition to college weightlifting a little bit easier? Ready for
like
softball?
I've loved working out since I was little. Like, I think it was 5th or 6th grade. I started doing CrossFit with my mom and brother. So I've done CrossFit forever, still do. And it's kind of just something that's more of like a mental help for me. Like, it's something that I enjoy outside of softball, and kind of like, make sure that I'm staying in the right headspace. And so, like, being able to lift and do stuff like that is another thing that I enjoy.
Oh, that's really good. So, again, you came here on your visit. Alabama really felt like home from the start.
Yes, they were my last visit, too, and I was like, I'm going to save Alabama for last because, like, I just have a good feeling. And I went on my other visits, and I came here, and I was like, this is it. Like, this is where Montana was my host when I came here, and like, I stayed at, it's different now because of COVID, but, like, we stayed at, like, me and all the other recruits, like, we stayed at her house, and, like, we had just, like, it was, like, just a fun time because they were who they were. Like, they weren't trying to be, like, impress the recruits and do things like that. Like, Montana did karaoke of Halo and love Montana, but, like, it wasn't the best, but, like, that's what made me feel like, okay, these girls are here for fun. Also, they're not trying to recruit me. They're not trying to get me here. They're just being who they are. And if it falls, it falls, and it fell. So.
And then how about Coach Murphy? Because, sometimes coaches are one way when they're recruiting you. It's a different story once you're signed and on their roster. But I imagine that line, you can't even tell between Murph when he was recruiting you and how that you've gotten to play for him 4 years.
Yeah, it's just like when he got here, like he just had so much love, and you could tell that he loved every athlete that was here, and he really had a passion for not only the game, but for the people. And we actually have in our locker room where it has person over athlete. Like he cares more about, like, yes, he cares that you do good here and that you love softball, but he's more important about preparing you for the future. Like he wants you to be successful. He doesn't want you to leave here and not know what to do or be lost. Like he wants you to be the best person that you can be, like as an athlete, yes, but more as a person, like be respectful, be kind. So he teaches you those little things. And when I was recruited, obviously I didn't know that. But like that's something special that, a lot of schools don't do. So that's definitely something special about Murph that I'm like, okay, he knows what he's doing.
And also with Alabama softball, Mendita is such a huge part of it. And, a lot of teams will focus on that, at different points. And you kind of hear it in a lecture and then it kind of goes away for a while. But how do you guys keep that fresh throughout the air? And you got to love, too, that it's spread to all other sports on this campus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Murph does a great job of instilling that in us. Like, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, they're doing good and I'm not. But then, you get mad, you get frustrated, and it's something that you realize it's a team sport. It's not a single sport. And so, like, once you realize, like, I can't win a game by myself. Marley can't win a game. Like, you need everybody. And I think once you come to that realization and you know that, like, for other people's success, it's awesome. Like, it's great. Like, I want everybody to succeed, or else we're not going to be as good as a team because it's not an individual sport. So I think instilling that and understanding that being happy for other people's success is more important than your own is what Murph preaches. And once you realize that, come to the realization, like everything it's so much more exciting. Like you're not all about, because like in travel ball, it's kind of hard because you're like trying to get recruited and you're trying to do this. So it's more individualized is how I felt when I was playing travel ball. And then when you got here, you're like, oh, everybody's good. Everybody's here for a reason. So like celebrate everybody else's success as they would want to celebrate yours.
And ultimately you want team success and you want to go to Oklahoma City and the Women's College World Series. Just what's made those runs to OKC so special the last few years?
They've been so special because like last year and the year before we struggled. Beginning of the year, we didn't have the best record. We didn't have, the number, like we got the number 5 seed my sophomore year. But like last year, like we didn't have the best record. We didn't have the best, year before that. But when we realized, hey, let's do this for a team. Like, we can do this. Like, we all believe in each other, and we really came to that realization. Like, it made it so much more memorable when we got there because we were like, we had it in us all along. We knew we did. And we finally put it together, and it was just more of a moment of, we did it. Like, we finally did it. Like, we figured it out. And just being able to get there, like, a little girl from Michigan, like, I'll never forget when we went there my sophomore year, one of my old teammates' best friends, Alex Salter, she was like, okay, whatever you do, don't look up. Well, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to look up in the stands. Of course, that's what I'm going to do. So I, like, looked up, and it was just one of those experiences that, like, I made it, And, like, just being there and having the team effort and the team success that we did made every little bit of the struggles worth it because it made us succeed in the long run.
And that year specifically, Montana gets injured. SEC tournament wills her back into competing in the regionals, super regionals. Just how meaningful was that celebration, especially here, knowing that Montana gets one more trip to OKC with her teammates, just everything you've seen her go through?
Yeah, I think it was just super memorable because, she was there for everybody and she wanted to win in any way possible. And then when that happened at the SEC tournament, Alex Salter backed her up and won it for her. But then, like, she was more of like, okay, like, I'm going to help Jayla. I'm going to help Alex. Like, I'm going to help all these people because she wanted – obviously, she couldn't pitch the way she wanted to. And so she wanted the team to succeed the best way she could. So then when she got the opportunity to finish it out, it was just like, okay, she did it. Like, it was just like we're taking her back, which it was like, we're taking everybody back. But it was special for her because we didn't want her to be done in the SEC tournament. We wanted her to finish out on the big stage. So it was super awesome to see, and I'm glad that I was a part of it.
Fun to celebrate here at the Rhodes House, knowing you're going to OKC, but I imagine even more fun when you're going up against one of your rivals and a team that did really well during the regular season in Tennessee a year ago. We kind of talked about it with Marley a few weeks ago, but game 2, I mean, what was your mindset? Did you feel like you were in a special type game in that moment that it kept going on and on and on?
Yes, I felt like that game was never going to end. I was like 14 innings. I'm like, we're going 20 or something at this point. But it was definitely something that was like, okay, we got this in the bag. Like, I just had that feeling like, okay, we lost game 1, but like we kept it close. And we found out some things about, like Tennessee was like, oh, like everybody thinks it's going to be easy. They're expected to win. And we're like, no, like we're going to show you how it is. And when Lauren Johnson came off that bench and she was like, I'm ready to go, I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens. She got that hit, and I was just like, we're in. Because now we're rattled. A girl coming off the bench, making that hit, and she was the winning run. And so, like, just having her there and to see Jenna's reaction, too, like, it was just one of those that I'm like, all right, we're winning this game, and then we're going to go finish it off. Like, there was no doubt in my mind, even though the game felt like forever. But I was like, however many innings it takes, like, I have a really good feeling we're going to get the job done.
Just so much adrenaline, I imagine,
Oh,
going
yeah.
from game 2 to game 3. And even in game 3, you got to deal with a rain delay, which Alabama softball throughout history, that's usually been a good thing.
Yeah, that's our thing, I guess. Whatever works. But, yeah, like, it was just like, those games, like even in game 1 that we lost, I was like, we're coming back. Like, there's no way. Like, we just had that mindset. We had, all the rally things in the dugout, and like we just had so much energy and so much positivity towards each other that we were like, there's no way we're losing this game. And like, even when it got close, I'm like, no, we got it. Like, I just had that faith where, in games before, I'm like, like, okay, somebody's gonna, like, you have that nervous, but in this one, I was like, nah, like, I was a little nervous, obviously, but it was like a different kind. Like, I was nervous because I didn't know who was gonna get done or when it was gonna get done. Like, I just knew that the job was gonna get done one way or another.
Got it done. Got to go to Oklahoma City. Great into your junior campaign. Now you're a senior, and for you, you've gotten to be on the field and seen all the senior days that Alabama softball does to a really high level, and now yours is coming up. Do you know when it is just yet, and are you prepared at all for it?
Yes, my senior day is March 15th, opening SEC against Mississippi State. And I will be prepared for it in about an hour because that's when my video is. So got to let it all go, try to hold everything together. But, like, this experience here has been everything that I can imagine, especially coming from Michigan. Like, I knew living in Michigan for 18 years, like, I was ready to go down south. Like, I wanted to go to Kentucky South. I wanted to be warm. I didn't want to deal with as much snow because we get snow all the time. Like, right now, there's a snowstorm right now happening in Michigan, like 10 inches of snow. And, like, I knew I didn't want to go, and I didn't care what level it was. I didn't care what division it was. I just wanted to go explore something different. And then when I stepped foot on this campus, I was like, this is where it's at. Like, there's so much family atmosphere here. Like, you create your best friends. You create your memories. Like, you get everything in between that you ever wanted. And so it's just definitely been something super special that I've admired, and I can't even think of anything different else that I would have wanted.
Who have been some good friends from other sports on this campus for you?
A good friend from another sport is Riley Miner. She's a rower. Her and I are pretty good friends. Lily Hudson, gymnast. Her and I are pretty good friends. It's kind of just been like Brooke Steer and I, because we're both from Michigan, and so we connected super well. And it was just like, once you have friends, like, I love going to the gymnastics meets. And I never missed a soccer game when I was here. I will say that. Like, I played soccer when I was little, but once it got to, like, you can, like, start shoving people, I was like, okay, that's enough for me. Like, I got too many red flags because I didn't know any better. But, like, I always loved that sport, and I knew it really well. So, like, just being able to have friends on a different team and, like, being able to support them and understand what they're going through, it's awesome. And, like, having the relationships here from teammates here, people from other teams, like coaches, other coaches, staff members, like, it's just been something that I will hold on to forever.
Brooke Steer, one of the funniest people you know?
Oh, absolutely. She is hilarious. She is so funny. Like, there was never a time, like, I see her in the dining hall, and I just look at her and just laugh. Like, I'm like, she could be saying nothing. She could be saying something. She's hilarious.
Yeah, it's all facial. We've had her in this studio before.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She had us laughing. You could hear Ethan pretty much laughing the whole interview. That's really good. So, again, it's been a tremendous experience for you as a student athlete here at Alabama. You're hoping for a great run this year towards a national championship. What could life look like after softball for Callie Heivilin?
It's a good question. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm a kinesiology major, so forever I want to do physical therapy. I'm like, that's what I want to do. And then when I interned at physical therapy, I was like, I need to be outside. Like, I need to be active. Like, that was something that I was like, that's what's going to fit me best. And so right now I'm on a medical sales track right now, so to do medical device sales, and I'm hoping that falls in place here soon. But that's kind of where my love is right now, and kind of do that, but also have, softball lessons or camps or something on the side, because I want to keep the love for softball going and let everybody know, like, how fun it really is, and, take the pressure off and, like, have fun with it. And so that's kind of where I'm going right now, hopefully.
That's really good. And you speaking of coaches, I meant to ask you earlier, but a couple years for you with Coach Allie, and then now a couple years with Coach Bro. I mean, you're getting the best of both worlds right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Coach Allie was one of those people that, like, you could be having the worst day, and you see her smile, and you're just like, hey, Allie, like, how are you? Like, she just had that special role, and then when she retired, we all were like, that she needs to be with her mom. Like, that's what's most important. And then when she now has the opportunity to still be at home with her mom and coach softball, I think that's the best thing for her. And Bro coming in, like, having the mindset of a 3-time All-American. And, you know, also on the flip side of being a commentator for however many years. And, like, she sees both sides. And so she's definitely grown our game a lot. And especially with, like, the lefty slappers. And, like, she does all the little things that, you know, you don't really think about, because, like, I'm not a lefty slapper. I don't know how important a bunt is. Like, I mean, you know it's important, but, like, you don't know all the certain technique to it and stuff like that. So she brings the little things in that have helped us become successful the last 2 years.
Oh, that's really good to see. Well, Callie Heivilin, it's been a blast catching up with you here in our podcast studio. Just all the best to you, Team 29, moving forward. Can't wait to see you at the Rhodes House coming up this spring, but thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Iron made this place. But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Great conversation with Callie Heivilin. Now we go to another Michigander on the podcast, or on the show, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, as Rachel Rybicki is our next guest. From Michigan, just like Callie Heivilin, she has made her journey to Alabama and even had some adversity when she first signed with the Crimson Tide. There was a coaching change right away, just as she was getting ready to come to campus, but you'll hear her story about how she met Ashley Johnson, started talking to her, and the bond they have formed throughout the past 3 years. Fun conversation with Rachel Rybicki. We get to know her a little bit more and learn more about Alabama gymnastics in this interview.
Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover now pleased to be joined here at Saban Field at the Advantage Center by Rachel Rybicki of the Alabama gymnastics team. Can you believe it's now your junior season competing for the Crimson Tide?
I can't believe it. I feel like everybody always tells you that stuff goes so quick and you enjoy every part of it, and you don't really start believing that and having it sink in until now that I'm an upperclassman. So it's been so exciting, and I look back, and Ash and I joke too that we're both juniors because we both got here at the same time, but it's crazy how much has happened, and it's really exciting too how much we have to come.
How much have you enjoyed this journey from when you've been on, when you signed with Alabama to where you are now?
I've loved the journey. I mean, if you would have told me when I committed that this would be where I am with this amazing coaching staff, I would have not believed any of it, but I truly believe that everything happens for a reason, and this is such a testament to that. It's just been an incredible journey being able to get to know the coaches and build a team that really has a strong culture that we believe in.
Let's start with this year's team. We've seen Alabama get off to a good start this year against North Carolina, and then some good scores along the way. I know the results maybe haven't gone as you'd liked, but how have you seen this team take steps forward week to week?
We always try to say that we want to just keep improving and keep getting better. For gymnastics terms, we say getting half-tenth better, working on our half-tenths. We define our wins. We try not to define them by scores because that's something that we can't control. We want to work on what we can control, which would be those half-tenths, our team culture, our attitudes, our energy, our investment, all of those things. And we just keep improving every week, which is something we're really proud of. And we may not have been having the results that we'd love to get, but we've been pulling wins out of that and also learning from that. And I also think it's really challenged this team to be really gritty and turn on our fight more, which is something that's just going to benefit us in the long run.
And is last year a really good example, too, of what happens when you have that mindset? Because look at how strong Alabama closed, first in SECs and then eventually to NCAAs.
Yes, it's definitely something that the girls on the team who were a part of our team last year have been able to bring into this new team and kind of share that culture with the freshmen and girls who haven't been on the team before. So we always talk about too peaking at the right time. And now we're just kind of trying to build and build and build and continue to improve so that we can peak at the right time. And the coaches have set up an amazing program for us to be able to make that happen with our assignments, with our recovery, with our strength. All of it plays together to help us peak at the right time, which is in postseason. So wins and losses it's obviously awesome to win and it's never fun to lose, but it really comes down to postseason. SECs, regionals, nationals, that's when we want to be peaking and be at our best, and we're on track to be doing that.
Does that make you excited for what's ahead the next few weeks?
Yes, and we always try to look ahead and not too far in advance, but we also don't want to dwell on the past. So it makes me so excited to know what we're going into, know what we're building. Just keeping our momentum going is really exciting because it makes the future so bright for us. So I'm so excited to keep going with this team.
So that's what's ahead for this team for Alabama Gymnastics. I want to go back, though, all the way to when you were growing up and first got in the gym. First of all, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Michigan, a small city called Grosse Pointe Park. It's about 20 or 30 minutes outside of Detroit, Michigan.
And then what was your introduction to gymnastics?
So my mom was a gymnast, and she actually coached and owned a tiny gym for a little while. So she knows what the sport is about and an experience before. So in a funny way, she wanted me to do every sport but gymnastics. So I was doing soccer and swimming and dance. I think I did tennis too, but I was always just climbing around the house. So my mom ended up putting me in a gymnastics class because it's obviously safer to do it on mats than it is to do in your living room. And I ended up picking it up and loving it so much. And my parents are awesome. They just want me to do whatever I'm going to be happy with, and that was gymnastics for me. And so I stuck with it, but I've probably been doing gymnastics since I was 5 years old.
So was she your first coach?
No, she
Okay.
actually has never coached me. She wants to be the parent in this process. She's always told me I'll be your parent and I'll support you in the process, but you have your coaches for a reason. So.
Oh, that's good. That's a really good way to look at it. I'm sure she's been a great sounding board resource
Yes.
when you do come to her with gymnastics
Yeah,
things.
it's really awesome because gymnastics has a lot of specific terminology. If I were to tell somebody my Yurchenko or my Jaeger, not many people would be able to know what that is, but since my mom did it, she's able to understand it and be able to go back and forth with me with the terminology, whereas if I'm talking to my dad, he's just calling them somersaults and flips. So, but both of them have been so supportive. It's just really nice having my mom who understands it.
So you're starting at 5 years old, getting in the gym, and a lot of that is just, getting some exercise in and starting to learn some of the fundamentals. So when did you start really having success, both in kind of a local level and then eventually a state and national level?
I would say in probably my later, like 4th, 5th grade was when I kind of started picking it up. I was really tiny when I was younger, so that makes gymnastics easier. And so I was always able to learn skills pretty quickly. And in 4th grade, I started doing what's called TOPS, which is there's elite gymnastics and then there's developmental program, and TOPS is a part of elite gymnastics. So I was going in to train in the mornings before I would go to school, and then I was going to school, and then I would go to practice after school. So when I started doing those 2-a-day type of trainings was kind of when it clicked for me that I'm on the right track here. I might be pretty good at this. And then I was able to keep building with my coach's help from there. When I got to 9th grade was when I started competing level 10, and that was when I was able to start seeing more success. In levels 9 and 10, you go to regionals, and then you also go to national competitions at the end of the year. And when I was able to start qualifying for those competitions was when I also started to realize that, okay, I'm finding success in this sport, and I'm able to compete with some of the best too. So it was just a big confidence booster, and also kind of opened my eyes to the possibility of being able to do it in college and just next steps and next possibilities for me.
And Alendo, again, a lot of great honors for you during your high school career. Michigan State floor champion. Was it tough to say goodbye to floor for a little bit before you brought it back this year?
Yes, I love floor. I'm somebody who loves performing floor. Floor and beam are probably my favorite events because you get to do more than just the gymnastics, and you can perform, you can do your dance. And I always love smiling and connecting with the crowd or connecting with the judges. And you can showcase your personality really well in the floor routine too. So I've been working really hard in the gym because I wanted to get back out there on floor and be able to compete it again. So it was hard, but it also was motivation for me to want to be able to get back into those lineups.
Was there some specific music you wanted to make sure was in your music for the floor routine this year?
So Luisa Blanco helped me with my floor music. I knew there was a song, like the Shakira song in my floor routine I knew I wanted to use, but I didn't know what other songs to kind of put together. So we were working together, listening to music, mixing it in our heads and out loud. It was actually really funny for us if you were to listen to us going through this process, you would have thought maybe we were a little bit crazy. But I knew I just wanted a really fun routine that I can get the crowd into, I could smile with, show off my personality. So that is something that I think I've been able to accomplish with this choreography and this music, and it's really exciting that it worked out.
It certainly has for you. For you as well, you mentioned college gymnastics started to get on your mind a little bit. What was important for you when you started looking at different schools that were recruiting you, and what made Alabama stand out?
So in the recruiting process, I at first was just trying to see every single school that had a gymnastics program where I would be interested in reaching out to them, learning about it, because when you're calling and talking to these coaches, you can get an inside look into the team. Obviously, they're talking about their team culture, how they train, how they compete. So it was really important for me to just understand as many different options as I could. But ideally, I had a goal of getting into the SEC because the SEC is one of the most competitive conferences for gymnastics, and I knew I wanted to be able to compete with the best and against the best because it allows me to push myself and become better and just rise to a higher level. So the SEC was always a big goal of mine. And then when I started talking to different schools in the SECs, I came into contact with Alabama, and I had a teammate who went to Alabama, and she was always talking about it, and so it was something that was always just kind of in the back of my mind when I was talking to other schools. And Alabama is an amazing school in general, amazing athletic program, and so that was also kind of always tugging me in this direction. So when I was able to talk to the coaches, I came onto campus. I actually did a gymnastics camp here too, so it allowed me to connect with the team and the coaches. It just was such a family environment here. Alabama just does it so different than any other school, in my opinion, and the support we get as students and as athletes is next level. So it was a situation where I just couldn't say no. There was not any reason for me to say no or go somewhere different. And coming from Michigan, I also love the warm weather in the South, so that was another little added bonus for me.
Who was your teammate that competed here?
Maddie Walagora.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. And now you get to compete against her coming up
Which
later in the
it'll
year.
be different, but it's so exciting. It was really cool for us to go on that journey together, and then just to see her continuing to have success is good too.
Well, of course, out of high school, you signed while Coach Duckworth is still leading this program. There's a coaching change right as you're starting to get ready to be here. What was it like when you first got to meet Coach Johnston in those first conversations?
When I first met Ash, I came in and I was here for Bama Bound, which is our orientation. So I just got a chance to come into the gym. I wasn't actually able to practice yet or on campus, but I got a chance to talk to her, to meet her. She called me on the phone too, right when she took the position as head coach, which was awesome. I think it made all of us feel that she was really invested in us as people, and not just, she is very invested in the program too, but it made us feel very important to be some of her first people that she's reaching out to. And then I got to talk to her, which is really awesome. You know, she was a very successful gymnast here, so she has experience in this specific program that carries over. And so to see her passion and her love for this school and this program was evident from the first time I talked to her. And then coming in my freshman summer, again, like I kind of already said it, but we joked that we're juniors, we were freshmen at the same time. So going through a new experience together, I think it really has helped shape our relationship with her as a coach, and just allows us to feel really connected to her. And she's been amazing. Again, just her experience that she can speak to is so, so helpful in the gym. So her being able to share what she felt, you know, when she was anchoring for her national championship for her team on beam, she is able to share that with us, and it's something that we can all relate to. And so it's really amazing to have a coach who can do that, and also really helps us grow and improve as gymnasts too.
And she built a really good coaching staff as well. And even
Yes.
Justin Spring, now he's like a celebrity with all the TV work he did this past year in the Olympics, right?
Yes, he went to Paris, which is so cool. We were all watching him and cheering him on. We have Ross, who came this season. He has been amazing. He coaches us on bars. They all kind of help out everywhere. Ross's main event is bars, though. And for me specifically, he's really helped me dial in on my little details, my form. He's really improved our bars. And then we have Amelia. We call her Meals. She helps us on floor mainly, but again, helps everywhere. She just brings so much energy. She's so bubbly. All the coaches work so well together. It's actually really cool when you hear their story. They've all crossed paths before coming to Alabama together. So to see them all reconnect is so cool. And again, just strengthens that family bond that we have as a team. And they work so well together. They lift us up as gymnasts and call us to a higher level of excellence. And because they know we can do it, and because they want what's best for us inside the gym and outside the gym. So I'm truly so, so grateful to have them as my coaching staff. And it's amazing to see how well they work together too, because it just fosters such a great team environment.
And speaking of the Olympics, Luisa Blanco, you've already talked about in this, one of your teammates. She gets to compete on the best stage there is for Columbia. How proud of you of the steps she took this past year, and now you continue to stay in touch with her this year even?
I am so proud of her. Even now, she's still doing so much amazing stuff with her career, now getting into kind of broadcasting, into that field. But watching her, we all watched her go through the process and what it took to get to the Olympics. Not a lot of people can say they saw the behind the scenes process of that, and starting from her having to join the national team, qualify at meets. She was traveling to Colombia in the summertime. She was training year round, building so many new routines, longer routines, getting old skills back, learning new skills, and just to see her work ethic through all of it was so, so amazing. And so when I was able to watch her and cheer her on at that Olympic stage, it just, my heart was so proud of her and so full of excitement for her because we were able to see what it took for her to get there. And so to be able to know that all her hard work paid off and it was such an amazing end to an amazing career for her was so fun to watch. I'm so excited for her and just really proud of the example she set in the gym and what she was able to accomplish through her hard work.
That's really good to see. And then for you, you've had some unique opportunities to serve Alabama in other ways, not just with gymnastics, but what can you tell us about your work with FCA and even traveling to Costa Rica with that group?
FCA has changed my sport. When I was younger, gymnastics was my identity. It was who I was. And that's a really easy hole, I think, for a lot of people to fall into because we spend so much time. We're either at school or wherever we practice. For me, it was in a gym. So if practice wasn't going good, then my day wouldn't be going good. If I didn't do good at a meet, then I wasn't a good person or I wasn't a successful person. And that's a really, really hard mindset to be in. And so through FCA, with the help of Coach Kramer and all my other friends who are athletes and involved in that, I've been able to find my identity in Christ and in my faith and not in my sport. I'm so blessed. Like, I have been blessed with the ability to do gymnastics and the opportunity to do it here at Alabama. And I know that's a blessing that God's given me. And I just want to use it for that purpose. And not, if I don't do well in a competition or if I do well in a competition, that doesn't change who I am as a person. It doesn't change that I'm loved, that I'm a hard worker, that I'm here to serve others and help others. So it's really changed my outlook and perspective on this sport. And now I compete because of a blessing that I have and in a way to glorify God and not in a way to glorify myself or because I need to do well in order to make myself feel good about myself. So it's been a process, again, because I believed in a different mindset for a very long time, but it's really helped so much, and it's also helped me have a heart of service for others, too, and allowed me to want to give back to others and want to serve others more just because I've seen what it can do for me and my mindset and just made me fall so much more in love with the sport again. And so if I can ever give somebody else that opportunity or share that with somebody else, it's really made me want to be able to do that too.
And just how meaningful is Coach Kramer? I get to see him in baseball season all the time because he's with us on all the trips. But I mean, what a guy. I'm sure anytime you talk to him, you feel better.
Yeah, he is so amazing. I really got to know him through Costa Rica. I've been going to FCA since my sophomore year. So that whole year I was going to FCA, and then I really got to know him when we went to Costa Rica, and because you're spending 6 or 7 days in pretty close quarters, traveling by a van with all these people, some of the best memories ever, and that I'm so grateful for. And he is one of the most amazing, kind-hearted people I have ever met. He lives out his faith so well and just sets an amazing example for us younger athletes. And he is, again, one of the main reasons I've learned how to shift my perspective and thought process with my sport and with my identity. And he just, you can talk to him about anything. He's always there to listen to you. He's always there to help you. He gives some amazing advice. You know, you can meet one-on-one with him, or you can talk to him at the end of FCA, and he's always there for you, giving out high fives, telling us he loves us, which is honestly sometimes so nice to hear when you're away from home. And he's just become just a figure I can look up to here in Alabama and somebody I can lean on and a great role model for me to look to. So he has been so important through my FCA journey, and it was awesome to go to Costa Rica with him too.
That's really good. And then for you as well, you get to compete at Alabama during an NIL era. And I know some of your NIL opportunities like Pilates have really even helped you in the gym as well for what you're trying to do with your gymnastics career.
Yes. So Pilates is an amazing opportunity. They reached out to us about working with them, and so I was so excited. I've been doing Pilates for a long time. I injured my back when I was young, so Pilates is a lot about engaging your core and like working on tinier muscles. So I started doing Pilates exercises for my back to help me strengthen other muscles, so I wasn't only using my back. And so to be able to do NIL was something that has helped me become healthy in my sport and find success in my sport was just so cool, kind of full circle moment for me. So I'm so grateful for the NIL opportunities that we have, and it's just been an amazing opportunity to be able to be a part of this era of college athletics.
Well, for you, you're a student athlete. Of course, athlete's a part of it. We talked about that with gymnastics. How about the student side? What's your focus in the classroom?
So I'm a finance and econ major, and then I'm working on a minor in Spanish as well. So I'm a numbers girl. I really love working with numbers. That's why I'm in the business field. And my studies are super important to me because as amazing as the opportunity to do gymnastics here is, it's going to be done for me. It's not something that I plan on doing after college. So Alabama's really helping me prepare for a life after gymnastics and after college. And through our business school here, I've had so many amazing opportunities and just mentorship and helping me be ready for my career. And then with Spanish as well, I'm working on making that my second language, and a lot of the courses I've been taking have been helping me to do that, and it just gives me more skills that I'm able to use in my future career.
Iron made this place. But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Last night in men's basketball did not go the way the Crimson Tide wanted, and even the post-game press conference, as you'll see here, didn't necessarily go the way Nate Oats wanted it. It was interrupted by a fire alarm at the end, but Coach Oats gives his thoughts on what he saw from Alabama last night against Missouri and a little bit of a look at what's coming up this weekend against Kentucky.
Obviously not one of our better defensive games. You got to give them a bunch of credit. They came out ready to go. You know, they started out 12-zip, scored 18 before the first media. Getting our guys ready to go is part of my job as head coach, and I didn't do a very good job of it tonight. So we didn't start the game out well, and then we didn't guard. I mean, give up 110 points. Or I think we gave them a 1.39 today on our defensive end. That's pretty elite offense. You know, we gave them 21 points off turnovers. They're top 5 in the country in steal percentage, and we gave them 12 steals. They scored off them. We didn't do a great job prepping our guys for their pressure, and they do a good job at it. But, you know, you kind of look at some effort stuff. I mean, Caleb Grill ends up with 25 points, but he had 10 rebounds. I mean, he had more rebounds than nobody had more rebounds than him on our team. You know, Diabate's the only guy that had. I mean, Diabate had 10. Nobody else had more than 4. So, for our entire front court to, you know, have 3 and 2, Jaron at 4, for their guard to out rebound isn't that bad. I just think they wanted this game a little bit more tonight, which is a little bit disappointing because we still had a lot riding on this game. I mean, we were still in full control of our own destiny with the league championship. You know, had we won out, we no longer are. And Missouri deserves a lot of credit for it. So they had a good team. I mean, they've been winning a lot of big games. They're shoot 17-1, I believe, at home now. You know, crowd was into it. Obviously, we helped with that, giving up the 12-0 run, but they got the crowd into it. They even when we cut it to, I think, 6 with about 10 to go there, you know, they perfect. And press conference over, I guess, right?
Hey, it's Aaliyah Nye. This is Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
We'll look forward to seeing the Crimson Tide back at home at Coleman Coliseum coming up Saturday against Kentucky. In women's basketball, the Crimson Tide are in a stretch where they're playing 3 out of 4 games in Tuscaloosa, and the stretch started on Monday night with a very dominant win against Texas A&M. After the ball game was over, it was head coach Christy Curry joining me live on the radio for our post-game conversation as she detailed the win over the Aggies and looks ahead to tonight against Tennessee.
Coach, Roll Tide, how'd you see your team take control of this game in the first half?
Well, I just love how we stood on business tonight. You know, I thought we came out and really executed the defensive game plan, did a really nice job, and then we were able to get our transition game going. But loved our balance, loved how we shared the basketball. I thought everything started with Zay Green, and man, excited for our team. You know, it's the time of year where you want to be playing your best basketball, and that was a dominant win.
It certainly was, and again, really all aspects of this game, we saw Alabama perform well. Started with some transition play, getting some quick steals, leading quick scores. 3-point shots were falling in. I mean, offensively, along with defense, just it seemed like everything was.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were able to get a lot of deflections, get our hands on a lot of balls, and did a really nice job of scouting tendencies and player tendencies, strong hand, weak hand. You know, we were wanting to make sure we went over 15 and 20 and went under everybody else, and I thought our team did a really nice job of executing defensively, and we can get our transition game going. It really makes a big difference. We can get some easy baskets. Thought our press was effective, and I thought that was a big difference there to start the game.
And how about Carly Weathers on the glass?
Yeah, just can't say enough about her energy and effort and all the little things that she does. She's always doing what she's supposed to be doing when she's supposed to be doing it, and it's just amazing. You look up in the way she shares the ball. I thought we got her hands on a lot of balls. She just has a feel for the game that's really special.
You got to empty out the bench in the fourth quarter. What'd you like about that group?
Well, I just thought they came in and did a nice job. I thought we need to play a little bit more without the foul, but it was great to see them because they continue to improve, and it's about the journey and the process, and just really am appreciative for, them buying into and playing for the front of their chest, and thought they got some really quality growth minutes tonight and was pleased with their energy and effort.
Special night for the Alabama women's basketball family. Obviously, Joni Taylor played here, coached here as well. Her coach, Rick Moody, also in the building. Give you a nice shout out.
Yeah, Coach Moody's incredibly special to the Currys, the way he has embraced us, the way he has believed in us from day one. Have so much respect for Joni, the way she has supported us, and we continue to support her. And they've been through some adversity this season, and I know she's going to turn that thing around, but I'm really just can't put into words how much they both mean and how good they've been to me.
Well, now it's a quick turnaround. Alabama at Tennessee on Thursday, a very important game for your basketball team. What's your mindset? What's your focus going into Thursday night?
You got to take care of the basketball. You got to go up there and make sure that you give them one-shot opportunities. They're dominant on the glass. They're dominant with their defense, and we've got to go up and do those two things really well and defend the three. We're just excited for the opportunity. It's next game. It's the time of year where you got to go take care of your business, do the things that you do well, and we're excited for the opportunity. I'm just so pleased with our effort tonight. We've got to build on it and carry it with us, pack it in our bags.
Let's go. Alabama at Tennessee Thursday. Coach, we'll see you there. Thank you for your time.
Roll Tide.
Busy weekend of Tide athletics coming up, especially on campus in Tuscaloosa, as we take a look at our upcoming schedule. First of all, tonight, women's basketball takes center stage in Knoxville against Tennessee. Don't forget our coverage will start at 5:15 across the network for the 5:30 Central tip-off between Alabama and Tennessee. Then coming up tomorrow, a new episode will drop of Tide TV This Week and the Nate Oats television show. Mentioned softball at home for the first time this year for the Easton Bama Bash. They'll be taking on Virginia Tech and Southern Utah coming up tomorrow. The baseball team is in Jacksonville, Florida, starting play at the Jacksonville Invitational with Coastal Carolina coming up at 5 p.m. Central. Then on Saturday, men's basketball will take center stage at 4 p.m. We'll hit the air at Coleman Coliseum for Alabama against Kentucky. Don't forget, it's a whiteout inside Coleman. Softball will be busy as well during that time against, first of all, Drake. It'll be a doubleheader, 11 a.m., 1:30 p.m. There should be enough time for you to go to both of those games against Drake and then make your way to Coleman Coliseum for men's basketball. Baseball will have really the key matchup they'll have all weekend in Jacksonville against NC State, an NC State team that a year ago made it to Omaha and the College World Series. Riley Quick will start against the Wolfpack coming up on Saturday in Jacksonville. Then on Sunday, baseball will wrap up play pretty early, 10 a.m. Local time, or 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, Alabama against Ohio State. Softball will wrap up play in the Bama Bash against Virginia Tech, and then the women's basketball team will take on the Auburn Tigers coming up at 4 p.m. We look forward to that game, and we'll look forward to having courtside cam coverage at Coleman Coliseum this weekend for the men's game against Kentucky as well as the women's game against Auburn. Our courtside cam always presented by NASCAR. Then on Monday night, we'll talk about it with Hey Coach, another edition coming up from Baumhauer's Victory Grill starting at 6 p.m. all across the network. Make sure you follow us at UA_CTSN for the very latest behind the scenes looks, some interview clips, and courtside cam calls coming up all throughout the weekend. Follow us at UA_CTSN on all of your favorite social media platforms. If you're watching the show on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and get notifications as well so you won't miss anything from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It's going to wrap up a busy edition of Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to, first of all, Ethan Karabin putting together this show. We also appreciate Lexi Graber for our NRAL office putting this show together with the interviews that she scheduled with Callie Heivilin and Rachel Rybicki. We thank Callie and Rachel for their time they gave us earlier this week in Tuscaloosa. Thanks as well to all of you watching this show. Now get ready for a huge weekend of Alabama athletics as everything's starting to come together between baseball and softball, men's and women's basketball, and gymnastics as well. It's a fun time here on campus in Tuscaloosa. For everyone with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Roger Hoover saying thanks for watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, and Roll Tide.